We're going to test that Nigerian. We're going to test that. It get hot in here.
Nigerians are tough, so.
Second best Jollof. Second best Jollof.
Yeah, right.
Who got first?
Take that cup.
My neighbors say they do. Gambia.
What's he?
Gambia. Gambia is not even in the conversation. What do you mean?
Oh, they say that they
second best
they
what?
originally.
Second best what?
Yeah, Gambia. No. Have you tried Gambian food?
No.
How about you?
No.
How about you?
Y'all need to come check it out.
No. Have I tried what?
Gambian food. Gambian jollof.
What's Malcolm?
Liberian.
With that,
Yeah,
You're all by yourself, man. It's
But I'm the only one that got neighbors.
It's Liberian and Nigerian. That's it, man.
Smacking.
We ain't talking about jollof, you Nigerian, Liberian.
Yeah.
We ain't talking about Gambian.
Yo, to all the
So you're not even
Gambian
in the
listeners and
conversation.
followers,
They're not
please,
even in the conversation.
please reply back to this. I want to
Gambian.
know. I want to start the Jollof war.
the Jollof war.
Nah, she was good.
Gambian. You should have told me it was Gambian. I wouldn't even reply to you.
Oh, go in. Keep that energy.
You're not even on the table.
Oh man, I love it. I love
Yo, what's
it.
Boo?
Liberian.
Oh, they're both Liberian.
They're both Liberian.
Yeah.
Brock.
Liberian.
Liberian?
Oh,
Yeah.
they're all Liberian. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
I ain't never.
The
had
li-
no, they never brought no Jollof.
The Liberians got the Liberian versus Nigeria beef, like Dominicans got the Puerto Rican beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like old school. Is that still happening?
I don't know if it's still happening, but I know that
They got to be back.
They got. Yeah, is it a thing? Is it a thing?
Yeah.
How so? Like, is it a food thing? Is it a sport thing?
It's
Is
just
it?
like we got the better skill. It's not like Liberian, Nigerian, we got the better food. You know, it's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
competing.
Yeah.
I think Nigerians always, even though I eat a lot of Liberian food, so I shouldn't have been saying the shit.
Oh, you don't have the same energy for Liberian food you got for Gambian food. Gambia, you're like, yeah, whatever. Nobody eat that street trash.
My ex was Liberian. He's like, what are you talking about? Yeah,
Much as used to come to the crib and eat.
yeah right. Don't come to my house no more.
That's dope. That's dope.
All right, you ready?
Oh, we recording.
Yeah.
Episode 106, Growing Pains Pod. Yeah,
Innocences.
That's how I do it. And people are late, so you know.
Yeah. You're right.
I like it.
I heard good reason, bro.
I like it.
Oh, no. That was a different occasion. I don't know why he's late today.
Oh, damn.
Don't link the two.
Could have been some residual work to
Don't
do
link
as a
to.
result of
All right.
the violent.
We're not checking texts. All right, text.
What'd you say?
Read it.
You see what my phone
You
is?
just put it over there.
My phone's been over there.
Okay.
Like the Supreme Leader's going to care about your excuse for being late.
Anyways, we got a guest.
Growing
today.
Pains Podcast, episode 106.
A lot of episodes now.
Seems like everybody's doing all right.
Yes.
Yeah, it seems
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, the energy's high today.
Decent.
I'm hot. What y'all talking about? I'm hot, bro.
It just got hot.
This might be one of the worst days of the summer for me, temperature-wise.
Yeah.
Oh, today's not that bad though.
That humidity out there is not for.
Not like the last 2 weeks though.
You can't have no preconditions or no issues today.
No,
bruh.
you can't.
Don't go outside
Stay
today.
in.
Was the bus free today?
Nah,
The
they
bus
They
should
don't
have
do
been
that no
free
more.
today.
don't do that no more.
They don't do
no
that
more.
anymore?
Hell no, the state need this money, nigga.
Oh, they don't do free days?
Nope.
What did they used to? They used to call them like solar days or something?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
forgot
back
what
in
it
the
was.
day.
Over 90 with over 92%
They haven't,
humidity or
they
something.
haven't
like
done
that.
that since I've been there. So
Yeah.
I've been there for like 6 years already.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought I did like 2 years ago. No.
Not since I've been there.
Well, that's a good thing. That means you don't take
That's
the
a
bus.
good-
You can tell Copper's doing all right. He's like,
I ain't took ripped in a minute.
That's a good thing.
You ain't missing anything.
Nah.
Since Grams was around, I don't think I haven't taken the.
I feel like I was on the bus a couple months ago.
You were on the bus.
Yeah, I was on the bus a couple months ago, dog. Just feeling it out.
How was it? How was it? How was your
Are
experience?
they clean? What's the difference now?
The
Like, what am I
buses are
missing?
fine. The buses are fine themselves. The issue is Kennedy Plaza.
Just packed. Huh?
KP is a fucking
Yeah, a lot.
war zone.
It is.
Yeah.
This is you have the biggest homeless population in a deaf school. Oh no, a blind school, all in the same place.
That's crazy.
And yeah, that one time I was out there, it was definitely some dude getting pummeled and
Oh,
kicked
man.
unconsciously, and I was like, "Excuse
Oh,
me,
man.
my bus is here."
Yeah.
But the bus was fine. I saw somebody threatening to sick a pit bull on another person. Yeah,
This is one of the few states that I know of, if only states, that public transit is frowned upon.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, you
It's
remember
frowned
right.
upon.
Okay.
It's frowned upon. If you're taking public transit, I can't say for everybody. Like, people that I know, people that I grew up with.
Yeah.
It's like, damn. Like,
Yeah, like you got
depending on who you are as a person, right? Like somebody saw me on the bus, they're like, damn, Bub's hurting.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
that's
right.
true.
If you catch a train in
I
Boston,
see what
nobody's
you're
saying
saying.
shit
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But living out in Barrington, there's a park and ride. They all catch the bus.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
right. That's true.
Right.
They work downtown. There's no
Yeah.
parking downtown.
Yeah.
Catch the bus.
Fucking right.
Yeah.
Y'all are frowning. I found the bus enjoyable. KP, war zone. All
How was the
that
drive? How was the driver?
shit. He was fine.
Good.
He was fine.
I've always enjoyed the bus.
So
bus is a
how
good
are they,
place
how
to-
are they protected, the drivers? Like, what are they doing?
Oh, what are they doing
Is
now
it
for them?
covered Up, or?
I'll pre-COVID.
Oh, Alex is not wearing a mask.
I was
by the way.
pre-COVID.
Really?
I was wearing a mask.
Yeah, you gotta
Okay.
wear a mask.
Just checking.
I was wearing a mask.
Yeah, has to wear a mask. Yeah.
No, I always wear masks. I don't, and I'm not. Again, I'm not afraid of getting it and thinking that it's gonna hurt me, but I don't want it to give it to y'all, to anybody else. So I
Yeah.
don't,
That's true. That's true.
common sense, I guess.
We told him to cellophane the side of the wall and all of that shit, so he's like in a plastic bubble when he's sitting in his chair, but he ain't get around to that yet. That's what you should have done.
That is what you should have done.
I ain't got no time to argue with you, dog. Just get on the bus.
Yo,
Put your
That's-
mask on and get
It's
on
all
the bus.
good.
that is a fact.
Do you have to wear a mask if you're on the bus?
Yes.
Oh, all right. And then who enforces that?
You?
Yeah. Oh, you got to get up. Didn't I tell you I got my rights?
What if I take it off?
Get out.
No.
That's true. No, you gotta
I
get
like
out.
Get out.
No.
It's a public
Nah,
transit.
you know what though? On a bus, that's
over
the,
here.
That's the.
Oh, you
don't
call-
even-
oh,
don't
you calling
even
the cops?
though. No.
I don't call
You
the cops.
Who calls the cops?
I call my dispatcher, and he calls the cops.
Bro, you don't. The bus is the one. Any
you
public
bitch.
transportation
Ah,
is the
you-
one place where the conductor or the bus driver don't have to do none of that shit. You know what? I'm just gonna stop the bus until you either put on your mask or get off. And the patrons on the bus
Wait, Troy,
Yes.
will get the wailing of
Yes.
your ass
That
without that
is
mask. dog.
Policing. Self-policing.
Yeah, that's self-police.
I can see that.
Put the fucking mask
need-
on.
But you're
'Cause
calling dispatch.
Because I could just pull over and I'm getting paid.
Yeah, I know.
I'm getting paid.
of course you're getting paid.
They got
I'll
everybody
do
else
it.
got to go somewhere.
I'll pull
They
over.
need to get to work or home, and
That's true.
they will start. To,
promise
yo,
I would pull over.
Just pull over. Yeah.
We're not moving until
Your man right there.
Put
This
on his
guy
mask.
puts on-
Your boy.
Yeah.
your boy. Yo, bro, put the mask on, bro. Nah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I'm staying in.
Put the mask on or put a cast on.
Hey, I'm gonna pay his tab. We're gonna get him right in to the back of the bus. Get him right into the back of the bus.
so yeah, it won't take too long, but you know, get a mask.
Should we introduce our guest?
Yeah.
Oh, you gonna play music first? I don't know how we're starting this
go ahead,
intro.
go ahead.
We got no tunes today.
I wanted to play something, but I just say it for next week because it's gonna be beautiful. Bub's gonna love the music I got, but it doesn't work right now, so it's not gonna work. So we just go. We can go in.
Okay.
We're going. So if you want to introduce yourself.
Nah, you guys follow.
Oh,
Introduce me and we'll follow the lead.
So yeah, we
Start
have
the question.
Isreal in the building. Gave us a little pamphlet.
Little homework.
That's a first for a guest.
Yeah,
Y'all
I
bring,
like
Hey, I came prepared.
resume write up.
Yeah.
You gotta come prepared, man.
And you are a nurse, among other things.
Yes, I
Correct.
am. Yes, I am.
So first of all, before we start, let me just say, and I know it's going to be weird, but thank you for what you do.
Appreciate it.
Fact.
Does it sound weird, even though that we should probably be thanking you every day for what nurses and doctors do, now that to be getting the credit for going through a pandemic?
No, it doesn't sound weird, and I'll tell you why. Because I'll tell my staff that every day. Because I think regular folks don't know what we have to go through in a line of work. Going to work, putting your life at risk every day. Every day. Whether you got kids or not, whether you're sick or not, you got to show up every day for work. So, and what you got to go through every day, I'll tell my staff thank you every day. You know what I mean? I'll tell everybody, tell them thank you. Because they got to show up for you. Got to put your life risk. You know you got to get sick. We know someone that passed away. And I was just talking to them last week. And they got COVID and they no longer here. So if somebody could go to work and put their life at risk and for everybody else and nobody cares, and you got people say, oh, COVID is not real, I don't care. And we're dealing with it we're right in front of
you
it.
said that, because that was one of my questions.
Exactly.
to ask
So
you
we're
is-
right in the front line, and we know somebody that passed away. We know somebody that got COVID. So we know it's real, regardless of what everybody's saying. So yeah, you got to tell them thank you. So absolutely. So I appreciate that. So
Yeah, no problem. I mean, that was one of my questions I was going to ask you is, you know, you hear people saying, well, COVID ain't real, and I was going to ask you how you feel about people saying that when you are actually dealing with it in the front line.
Well, so that numbers that we all see on TV, when you get $149,000 people passed away, that's 149 people that started 2020 that will no longer be here 2021. Like, they are no longer here with us. So that's 148,000's family. Mm-hmm. You know, you go to New York, you see them, you know, and those are the low income, the minorities. So when you say COVID is not real, just drive your ass to New York or drive your ass to Rhode Island Hospital or drive your ass to the graveyard and count those bodies. Then you know COVID is real. So I tell them, until you've done that,
Right.
don't tell me COVID is not real. Like, it's easy. Just go to the hospitals and go count the bodies. I'll put bodies in the body bags myself. You know, so don't tell me COVID is not real if I'm doing that. And I had an argument with somebody on social media. I said, well, get in your car, go to the hospital, go to the funeral parlor, and just say, I want to know if COVID is real. I want to see all the dead bodies in your place. They will gladly show you. So, yeah, COVID is real. It's just, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So we do have to protect ourselves. As long as you got our president saying COVID is not real, which is the most.
Well, now he puts a mask.
I wouldn't even go there.
Now
But
mask
if you got the president of the United States not wearing masks, telling you COVID is not real, then everybody else is going to say COVID is not real. But guess what? You got money, you got protection, you got doctors right there. If he gets sick, if somebody in his family gets sick, they will get treated. They will get the face mask. They will get the ventilation. You won't. So before you listen to him, then you better do what is right. Wash your hands, put on face masks, and just protect yourself. Only for a while. 2021, we'll get back to our normal lives, and everything will be fine. Right now, just sit down and figure it out. So yeah, COVID is real.
Let me ask you a question, because you talked about protecting yourself. Like, how much more different is it now, the safety protocols that were in place in your line of profession pre-COVID versus post-COVID? You know, I always assumed that there was a, you know, gloves, masks, protocol, things of that nature. Maybe not amongst yourself as employees, but interacting with the patients. I assume they already had these safety protocols, but then you also hear that hospitals are the germiest places in the world because the people there are sick. So, like, how greater, I guess, of a challenge is it post-COVID as far as the safety protocols?
I think the difference between COVID is you don't know what you're dealing with. You had the flu, you had the norovirus. Those we know how to treat. You know how to protect yourself. COVID is something that is new. You don't know. There's no vaccine for it. There's no cure for it. So you just get sick and get better. You know. So if you don't know what you're dealing with, how can you treat it?
How do you
protect yourself against it? So what we're doing right now is just going by what we know. Putting on the face mask, wearing your gloves, washing your hands. If you're sick, stay away from anybody. You know, those type of PPE that we have to follow, those type of protocols that you have to follow. So, which is, like I said, is a learning curve every day. Every day you learn something new. Every day you know why people are asymptomatic. I've been tested 8 times. That's 8 times they've just went in and dig into your nose just to protect everybody else. So when somebody say COVID is not real, and I know I've been tested 8 times, that shit hurts. You know, and I know, like I said, it is something we have to deal with. It is something that is real. It's something that you have to protect yourself. You have elderly, if you have somebody that's older, if you have somebody that is immune compromised in your family, you have to protect yourself. So, and that's what we have to do every day. Eventually, this too shall pass.
Do you think any of the data around it is misleading?
Absolutely. I agree with that. These facts are being misconstrued.
Some inflation in the numbers.
Exactly, inflation in the numbers and who's getting sick and who's not. But the fact is, there is COVID. Regardless of what the data says, people are still dying, period. Let's take the data away. Let's just look at common sense. People are still dying from COVID. There's 149,000 people that die from COVID. So regardless of what the data is saying, COVID is there. You know what I mean? So just protect yourself. You know, the data, of course, that's not going to change. There's some facts and there's some lies and there's some make-up stories. But still, let's just leave that alone. Don't worry about it. It's just not a rocket science. That's COVID. If you get COVID, you will get sick. The young ones, you guys probably be okay. It's just going to be like a flu and you get over it. But if you have the 60s to 65, 70 years old, they're not going to get over it. If you have some of the diabetes, they're not going to get over it. If you have asthma, you're in trouble. Look at that rapper from New York. What's his name? The big rapper.
Fred
Gasson. I mean, how old is he? 34?
Yeah.
He passed away.
And I'm going to assume outside of asthma, he had some other
probably
issues.
overweight.
Yeah.
You know, so but still, he's still young. Without COVID,
yeah.
Without COVID, he'd probably still be here with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he has some precondition.
Mm-hmm.
But still, COVID made that all those.
And I think that's
Push him
outside
over
of
the
the
hedge.
data. I think that's the information that's not being pumped out enough, especially in certain communities. So when you look at Hartford projects, right, living in a high rise, it's a densely populated area,
Of course.
and looking at some of how living situations of certain individuals, where they don't have the privilege of social distancing,
Of course.
within their own apartment.
Yep.
And I think that's not the information that's going to that community. There's no tips on how we can help you. You know what I mean? Things like that.
But I don't even think document. I don't think they're getting the right information at all. Like if you live in Child Brown, they're not watching the news.
Yeah.
They not listen. They're not going to CDCs and following the guidelines. They're not going to the Department of Health watching that. You know, nobody's giving us the right information in that section of town. You know, our people. You know, that's why we have to protect ourselves. Like if you have money and you live in a suburban house and you got COVID, you can stay in one room and everybody will be fine.
Right.
At Child Brown, you only have 2 bedrooms sharing with 8 people. You know, so that's why a lot of people are getting sick. So if one of us are sick right now, you don't have to be here. You know, we are not sick, so we're fine. That's why we're having this podcast. But if you were sick, where are you gonna be? You can't get in a hotel and self-quarantine yourself in a hotel. You don't have the money for that. You don't have a basement where you can go there and take a shower and all that stuff. You know, so you're among your friends, your family, so in a project, so everybody's gonna get sick. You know, I don't think the governor goes down to Child Brown and say, let me educate you. Let's do some coaching. Let's do some in-service. Let's do some training. How to properly wash your hands. How to stay away from people. We're not doing that. So we're just leaving that to the
1 o'clock briefing.
The 1 o'clock briefing too, and then she's not talking about none of that in the 1 o'clock briefing. Which is sad. I think it's just a sad thing.
We know. I mean, there's a lot of reasons too. Like there's no. The resources are not prioritized.
Yeah, it is.
Right. So if you look at these housing complexes that we have in Providence, you would, in my head, right, this is just me speaking, would say that most of the resources should be to them first.
Yes.
But obviously, it comes down to the dollar.
Yep.
If you got the dollar, you get the resources.
Yep. And that's always been that's the true statement.
But when we say got the dollar, you also imply that pay more taxes.
But not even pay more taxes.
You got the dollar.
No, where I live, I pay more taxes than they would in a Chad Brown.
But still, let's just take the taxes out. Like that's how I think. That's when the conversation gets all.
No, I'm just adding another layer to it. I'm not for or against. I'm telling you right now, I agree with what you're saying. We should find these impacted areas and emphasize more education there. But I don't. I guess when we say when you got the dollar, that's just too high level of a statement.
So let me ask you a question. So you're saying because you pay more taxes, you should get more better privilege?
No, he's saying that's what's happening.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Well, no, you got a point.
And that's what happens with the educational system and every part of it.
Is that an illusion?
No, that's not. No, that's a fact. As much as we want to think that's an illusion, that's a fact. It's not lying.
So is it a fact? It's a fact when you have Reem, right? Reem owns his house. So if he has tenants, he's definitely paying way more taxes than his tenants are, right?
Yeah,
that's a fact.
That's a fact. Oh yeah,
that's a fact. But once you get to a certain extent, from Reem to like, let's say,
East Side,
somebody in the East Side,
Blackstone Boulevard area type.
Yeah. Are they paying more taxes? When you're owning more of these situations, when you're getting more of these tax refunds because you know how to play the game, which I'm sure you can get into from a real estate perspective. When you're in, let's say, when you're in investments and you're getting investments, when you're getting these dividends, are you essentially paying more taxes? Is a person in the East Side paying more taxes than you?
Property tax is the only tax I'm referring to.
Okay.
So
property tax.
Question. That's a good question.
It's great.
That's a great question because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people paying more taxes than the president. They know there's loopholes to it.
Right.
Whether it's real estate or businesses, whatever it is, there's
Write-offs,
loopholes
all
to
that
it,
stuff.
write-offs and stuff like that. So those are taking advantage of the taxes. But guess what? They are not stopping us from doing the same thing. We just don't know how. And I think that's why I say my conversation is how can you beat those loopholes? How can you have properties where you're doing the same thing they're doing? You know, if the Trump is paying more taxes than I am, if I'm paying more taxes than Trump, something's not adding up. And he's not getting in trouble with it.
No.
Rich dad, poor dad. The guy will tell you all the time.
Well, not yet.
Get away about taxes. I'm just
The
saying.
taxes is coming out soon.
Getting back to the nursing thing, and then we can hop right off.
Yeah.
What are you seeing is being done, and or are you guys providing other information to people, let's say, of those communities, those lower income communities that live so densely together? Are you providing other information to them outside of just wash your hands and cover your face?
I think there's a lot of information out there. That's a good thing and a bad thing, because there's a lot of information out there. A lot of people are so overwhelmed with so much information, so you don't know what is the right information, what is the wrong information. So a lot of people don't care. Mostly condensed, you know. People. I don't care. Well, the president say do this, then the governor says do that. Yeah. And both of them are telling me the same thing, and I'm supposed to listen to them.
Because if I get it, I get it.
Exactly. So if the president say, "Oh, you'll be fine," and no, we're doing great, and the governor say, "No, we're not doing great," they're like, "All right, which one is which?" They're like, "You know, maybe they just don't make no sense." So I'm just gonna listen to myself. So I think that's part of the problem. There's too many information. There's wrong information. But I'll go back to what I always say: is just common sense. They just take the information out. COVID is real. Protect yourself. End of story. You know what I mean?
Don't drink bleach.
Don't go to party. And don't drink bleach. Don't ever get together and go to a house party without wearing your face mask, because everybody will say, "Oh, come down and get some drinks and stuff like that." Still protect yourself, you know. And I know we all want to have fun, but guess what? This is just 2020. I mean, we've been having fun for a lot of years. So now this is time, like, the world wants us to stay still. Like, this is a sign. Just stay still, look into yourself, and figure out where you need to be in life. But nah, we don't want to stay still. I don't want to stay home. I want to go to party. I want to go get together, because I can't. COVID is not real. So there's a lot of information out there. There's just a lot of misleading information.
Does the world want us to sit still? Because I'm
like, want some happening. Happening.
No, just I don't think the world wants us to.
Nah,
because we wouldn't be in phase 3 if the world wanted us to sit still.
Well, nope. And I think that's why it's just at this point I am so tired of going back and forth. Like, sometimes I'll get mad at people. Sometimes I'm like, we're just people. You know, you're right. The world doesn't want to stay still. You know, even though you know you're gonna get COVID, until somebody showed you a picture and said that individual got COVID, that's the only way we're gonna stay away from them. But you're not gonna see that. So it's just.
But is it? Well, it's probably more. I don't know if it's it's not the most serious disease you can catch, but isn't it? You don't think it's along the, like, people tell you protect yourself during sex. Mm-hmm. There's people out there that we wouldn't be here if this, right? We wouldn't have kids, and so I think when you don't have exact information, people go off and try to assume or figure things out for themselves.
And I think that's part of the problem too. When people say, well, people get cancer and people get do these things, people get that and they don't die, and this is just like flu, you know. Those are part of the misleading information. That's like, we don't want to accept the fact that COVID is different. I'm not talking about diabetes, I'm not talking about cancer, I'm talking about COVID. You know what I mean? We're talking about COVID. You know, once you start thinking that, just like, if I go outside, nobody will hear me. They'll stop. They're supposed to stop from when I'm crossing the road. You know, secondhand kills, but we still smoke anyway. You know, it's just common sense. You know, it's just common sense. You know, once we start looking into those details, I'm sick, I'm okay, I don't have asthma, and I don't have that stuff. That's when you start being careless. And I think that's part of the problem too. You think you're immune to it. No, you are not immune to it. COVID doesn't discriminate. COVID doesn't care if you're black or white, rich or poor. It just affects you more if you're poor, because now you're among people that are sick.
Less privilege.
Exactly. COVID doesn't discriminate. If COVID wants to get you, it will get you.
Let me ask you a question, because you're like the rest of us. You're a father of 3, and clearly a lot closer to the front lines as far as this COVID. How do you feel about schools reopening?
That's a tough one. It's much easier for me to say, because knock on wood, my kids are doing great. So my kids can do great at home, no matter what. It's up to the parents. But guess what? I'm educated, and so I know what it takes. A lot of people are not. You know, a lot of people are just trying to go to work and put their kids through school. So how are they going to homeschool their kids? You know, and then I saw something on social media the other day. Say you send your kids to school with a face mask that says Batman on it, and now he came back with Superman face mask on because he's trading face mask with his friends because they don't know. You know, that's. I'm like, wow, that's the way you got to look at it. The kids don't. If adults are not following the guidelines and the adults are not following the direction, what do you think kids are going to do? Adults can't even stay away from each other. Now you're telling kids to stay away from each other. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So the good part is that the kids doesn't get sicker than like an adult. So at this point, there's no win-win situation because if they stay home, it's gonna affect them for the rest of their lives. Parents can't do the schoolwork. They can't. They don't have the knowledge or the foundation to train your kids. Right. It's a lot of work. I'm like, I'm doing my kids' school. I'm like, man, shit, I feel dumb. And I thought I was smart. So now imagine somebody that didn't go to college and trying to get the schoolwork done is a lot. They're going to give up. They're going to say, you know what, you'll be fine. You'll catch up the next year. And we're talking about kids. They are developing. You're supposed to be learning. You don't stop. You know, so I feel bad for the kids. I really do. So
when the decision has to come, because I guess we just got word back, at least in the North Providence school district that my son goes to, they've postponed opening from August 31st to September 14th.
Yep, that's correct.
So when that day hits, is it... Because for me, I'm putting my boot right to his ass. Bye! Yeah. Right to school.
Yeah. So I'll say those young kids needs to stay home. The 6, 7, 8 years old. I think the ones that should be going back to school are the middle school. Middle school and up, they know better. They could stay away. The young ones, they can't. They really can't. So the only way you can protect yourself from viruses is staying away from everybody. Don't touch somebody else's stuff. Don't put somebody else's Batman and put it on your face because you like that cartoon. Kids don't know that. So how are you going to protect the kids? And right now we are not even dealing with the pandemic for the kids yet. It's more the adults. So God forbid kids start getting affected. It's going to be every school is going to shut down. Trust me.
It's funny to hear that from a medical professional because it's like almost complete opposite of what the options are for the reopening, right? Where they say the 4 options that they're debating on is either complete virtual, they'll do complete everyone back to school, or 50% or 25%. But in each one of these cases, with exception to complete virtual, K through 2nd grade is required to be in school.
Yep.
In either one of those 3 other scenarios.
Yep.
So yeah, I wanted to hear your opinion about it because I have a 1st grader this year.
So I think that's more of the reason why they kind of postpone the school starting on the 30th to the 14th because they need to be prepared. They need to separate the classes. They need Chromebooks to make sure there's only 6 kids in a class, and so they need to be prepared. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail.
Correct.
So if you don't have the resources to separate everybody, then it's going to be very tough. And I think that's what they're trying to do. And yet, people are still complaining. We're talking about 2 weeks to be better prepared for your kids. And we're still complaining. So think about it. If I'm saying keep your kids for another 2 weeks, you've already kept them anyway. So we can look into the school, see, there's 28 kids in one class. Let's break them out a little bit. Let's have maybe half a day of school. Maybe some kids can come to the first section and the other kids can come to the second section. Then you do the rest at home. Yeah. Nobody's looking into that. So if some kids come to school from 8 to 12, then you go home and your parents finish the rest of the stuff. Then some other kids come from 12 to 4, then you go home, then the parents can handle that. Nobody's talking about that. They just want all or nothing, all or nothing. If my kids come home and some of the homework is already laid out, I will finish it. Let's look into that. So you don't have to have all the kids in school at one time. You can still maintain the social distancing, but we all want we want it all, which is the biggest challenge, and the population wins the vote. So for me, and this is because of misleading information, the capacity. There's no science behind the capacity. Oh, what do you mean?
Like 6 to 8 feet?
No. 15 people, 20 people. There's no science behind it.
You're right. So when she said only 25% capacity, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So 25 people in this room or 25 people in the room in the other room?
Yeah.
So that doesn't.
There's no, and so when the schools are having like this hybrid model,
Yep.
we'll have students come for 2 days and then 3 days at home, and then have another group of students. All it takes is one person to
No.
infect. Right, one person that gets
That's
COVID in school,
Everybody gets it.
school's closed.
Well, but you're able to track that though, because you know that they were part of the Tuesday session.
I get the
But-
tracking piece. The school's
let's,
over.
Let's go back to what it said. If you get COVID, it's shut down.
Yeah.
Period. It doesn't.
Building's
You're not going to
closed.
say building is closed, so you
Yeah.
can send your kids to school for 2 weeks
they
and
didn't
shut
say that.
down. But
They
no,
said-
they will shut it down.
You would have to.
No,
They
they said
have
that
to.
if in the classrooms they're expecting kids from 20 to 30 in a classroom, they have these separation protocols. If they only will be allowed to be in that classroom
Yeah,
the
they don't
whole
move.
day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If any one of the kids in that classroom gets sick, then that whole pod is now subject to quarantine and can no longer come
I
back
promise
to
you,
school.
nobody
But-
sends their
but
kid
guess
back
what?
to school if one kid gets sick.
In a
what you're
long-term,
saying.
but think about it, in a long-term facility, if somebody gets sick, the family can't come visit their loved ones. We have different floors. We have different floors in a long-term facility. Why don't you just shut down the floor, and then everything goes on? No, we shut down the whole building.
And then the impact of COVID has an impact because of my work.
Yep.
I'm in the hospitals all the
Mhm.
time.
Yep.
And so, because of the impact of COVID, a shooting victim can't have visitors.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Nobody can have visitors.
Right.
In the hospital now, you can't.
Yeah,
know.
you can now.
But
Yeah.
before, nobody can have
Nobody.
visitors.
You're fine with that? No.
So I cover my mouth. So. Yeah, but yeah, in the hospital now they can have visitors. It's like
I got to fuck with you.
it's like I'm ready.
Podcast over. All right. God bless. Good night.
All this COVID time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
speaking of being a nurse, right?
Mhm.
It was funny because thinking about you coming out in the podcast today, I was watching Life last night, and when he was clowning Martin for wanting to be a bank teller.
Right.
He's like, nah, I picture a woman doing that job.
Yeah.
Right.
Counting money all day.
And that was like the stigma on being a nurse. It's like,
It's a woman's.
Yeah.
you a nurse?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I found out how much nurses get. I said,
Nah.
get paid. I'll be a
Start
nurse.
figuring out how much nurse practitioners get.
Yeah. You
Are
start
there
to-
levels to nurses?
Fuck yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, okay. There is absolute level to nurses. They're different nurses. There's a nurse, and to answer your question, there's a nurse. There's various aspect of nursing. You could be an MDS. You could be working in an office. I'm a healthcare administrator,
Yeah.
and I haven't been in the best site in 8 years. I'm still a nurse. You know, so there's a lot of levels to being a nurse. I think what the society doesn't know is being a nurse doesn't mean you work at a hospital and take
Right.
care of somebody. There's people that write the policies.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
so there's a lot of
didn't know that.
nursing aspects. So unless you're in it, you don't know.
And it's just
But
a miseducation behind it.
It is
right?
exactly all misinformation,
Yeah.
just like most everything else. But you are right. I'm from Africa. I'm Nigerian. We don't look at nursing like that's a man's job. Well, that's a female's job. You know, I started in a skill unit. I started in a nursing home. So that kind of exposed me to, no, there's a lot of various aspects of nursing, you know. So unless you're in it, you don't know. Everybody just think nursing is that old school Nightingale nurses. You're on the best side caring for people.
Yeah.
No. Somebody got to write a policy.
And
somebody
still, even
can
if
do it.
that is that, there's still nothing
There's-
wrong
there's
with that.
still nothing
as
wrong with
being-
it. Yeah,
as being
exactly,
a
yeah.
man.
What are those other aspects though? Like you said, there was
There's
policy
writing
writing.
the policy. There's the administrative part of nursing. There's MDS. So there's a lot of
MDS stands for
medical service care. So there's a lot.
Medical
There's like I said, there's the healthcare administrators. There's long-term nursing home LNHA, long-time nursing home administrative. There's infection preventionist. They just deal with infections. There's a whole lot of aspect of nursing. A lot.
emergency room, which I hear is like one of the most educational practices in nursing. If you're an emergency room nurse,
Yeah.
because you're exposed to everything.
Listen,
anything,
the
all
emergency
the
room
time.
is you talking about KP's a scary place.
Yeah.
The emergency room?
There's a lot.
Spend
So
some time
and
in
not
there.
everybody can work in a ER.
No.
Emergency room. Not everybody can work. You got to be a special type of nurse to work. in
Different
there.
temperament.
And then they trained you. That's why those nurses get that. When you see those nurses, they get trained for at least 6 months, just training alone, 6 months to a year after you graduate school, just to work on that floor, because it is a lot.
It's different.
Because you never know what you're dealing with. You go to work unknowing what you're dealing with every day. Every one of us go to work like, all right, I have a plan. This is what I'm going to do today. They go to work knowing
you might have a slow night.
you might have a slow night. You might have somebody that just got shot. You might have somebody that literally just quoted in front of you. Now their life depends on your hand. So
and now add COVID on top of that.
now you have COVID, and on top of that, you ain't got no choice but to treat them.
Yeah.
You know, so it is a fulfilling profession, and that's why a lot of people that goes into it because of money, because you do make money, you get burned out. They get burned out fast. They within 5 years they start making errors. They complain. Like they won't make it. Because if you go in there for money, which a lot of people do go in there for money, you're not gonna make it.
Cause I've seen the back of the ER in the trauma unit, and you get the shooting victim,
Absolutely.
and then you get to see everything.
Absolutely.
Like, so if that person was shot in the head, you see that, right? And so all that trauma. Then you get the drunks that come in there and it's fuck you, don't fucking touch me,
And
blah 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 blah. It's like, dude, I'm trying to help you.
And
Then you get homeless people. Like homeless people find a way into the ER because it's a safe place, right? And so they get drunk and they, either pass out, and they get
and you get regular folks that are psych issues. A lot of people forget that as a regular folks, just like you and I, that have psych problems that you don't know. When they are in the moment and they have to go to the hospital, so you have to deal with that. So it's a lot of work. It's a fulfilling position. So.
I saw in the write-up that you're working towards the nurse practitioner.
I'll be done next year.
So now, what's the difference? So what separates a nurse from nurse practitioner?
So nurse practitioner is what we call advanced nursing. So a nurse practitioner can basically do what a doctor does. Right. Except, unless you get a PhD, you're a doctor. You can open your own practice and do what a doctor does. Because you put in that's what we call advanced. So you have more knowledge, more clinical hours. I have to do almost 700 clinical hours.
What is a clinical hour?
Say clinical hours is going to the hospital and taking care of the patient, just like you're working. Except you're not getting paid for it, and you're doing it under the supervision of a professor, or doctor, or nurse practitioner. So it is a lot of work. So, but
that's the level up we were talking about, though.
That's the level that you want to be. That's the level you want to get to, because you've put in so much time just saving lives, and you might as well just go all the way in. In my case, I know I was going to go all the way in, so that's why. Did
you always knew this, or because I know you said on this little pamphlet you've been started at the senior center.
Yep.
Was that the mindset already? It was like, I want to be in the medicine field?
So I actually started as a pharmacist at URI. And long short story, I was coming from school and I fell asleep on the wheel, and I'm like driving all the way to URI from Providence and working 3 jobs. I might not make it. But at this point, exactly, at this point, I was already working in a long-term facility, a nursing home, and I love this job. I love talking to the elderlies. I love hearing their stories. I mean, they have the best stories. They have the best knowledge.
In a nursing home.
The experience they've been through. They'll tell you stories that you can't pay for. So I'm like, I might as well just, I'll just go be a nurse. It's still a fulfilling position. It's still in the healthcare field. And I love talking to them, so I just kind of changed my mind, and I just walk my way out.
What was the next process after that? Was just, all right, so you're right. You said pharmacy, so it was like, all right, so I have to change.
So, now we're talking about 17 years ago. So it took me 17 years to be there. So when people, I get a lot of inboxes on social media and say, oh, how did you get into your position? And I'll tell them number one
step at a ladder.
Yeah, let's count the years. So like I said, I started as a CNA, which is nursing assistant. I started in the kitchen as a dishwasher, pushing the trucks up. Then got my CNA license and just kind of worked my way up, became a med tech, becoming a nurse and a nursing supervisor, and just kind of worked my way up. But I'll tell you a story. When I was pushing a truck, and I have to push a truck past the administrator's office. And his office is this big, massive, a lot of windows. And he was just sitting in there with his tie on, just making rules. I mean, he's in charge of everybody. The budget, the staffing, he's the administrator. So I'm like, wow, that's a powerful job. So one day I was talking to him, I was like, I love that. I want to be in charge. I want to be the leader. He was in charge of everybody. There is no decision that is made in a nursing home without the administrator saying yes or no. So I just spoke to him. I went in there and kind of introduced myself, and literally just came from Africa. So I speak way too fast, and you can't even hear me back then. And I told him, I said, I like your job. You look good. And the guy looked good. And that's how he's sitting down and making the right decisions too. You know, it was pretty bad when the guy came in, and he made the right moves, made the right decisions. So I was very impressed with the way he came in, his leadership skills. And I know I'm a leader, you know, even since I was young. So I was like, I want to be in your position. And he looked at me, it's like, you know, I've seen you for a while. You can't be in that position. And that day, that was in my mind was made up. And that was nothing that was going to stop me. I knew it was going to take time, you know, but because I was just a CNA, you know, you got to go to college, you got to do all this stuff. But I figured out that's where I wanted to be. So I went and got a pen and paper and wrote it down and figured out how I'm going to get there, how long it's going to take me to get there, and then closed that book, and that was it. And I never looked back. So
Dope.
That is dope.
That's why I got that stuff.
Speak to that though. That 17-year grind.
Man, it's a lot of work.
That grind. We talked about this off air before we started. That I don't know that that's a shared mentality in today's world. That if I want it, I should just be able to have it now.
Yeah.
I said I wanted it, or I think I should have it, and I can't have it. But most times when I see the most successful people that I know, there is that story of time.
Yeah. So that time is everything. And I think knowing there's going to be time to achieve whatever you want to achieve allows you to be patient, allows you to enjoy the process. And while I was sitting down, I saw that sign on that wall that says, happiness is not a destination, it's just a way of life.
Yep.
So me being an administrator wasn't like I have to be there to be happy. I have to enjoy the process on my way to being the administrator. So it's going to take time. So while I was in college, and I enjoyed my time. I still have fun. I still go out with my friends. But guess what? After the club, I'm starting at 3 o'clock in the morning. Right. And this is when you used to have a lot of clubs in Providence, the Bar One, the Complex, the Law 401. I'm talking about back in the days. Confettis, those clubs. I mean, that's when you used to have like 10 clubs.
That was you.
We was in there. That was you. Same age too. I was like, we was in the club together.
I know. That's back so.
That was him. All the Nigerians that I saw that.
That's probably me. Yeah, but I knew, like, and that's why I always tell the young ones, they like, you know what you want doesn't stop you from having fun. And I think that's the problem. Like, most people think, that to achieve this stuff, your life got to stop. No. You just got to level up.
If you have the right purpose, right?
If you have the right purpose.
What I'm hearing you say, that maybe unconsciously you were doing it, or maybe consciously you was doing it, but you didn't say it, you didn't verbalize it. You said you always saw yourself as a leader, right? And you saw a guy in a position that was making moves, and you're like, I want to be there.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you say money, right? And so, like, usually, I know the money is there, but usually when you're chasing the money, I think your process to chasing the money is not a fun one.
Well, there's a quote you always say that says, success, like, money is what you get for what you put in. So it comes both ways.
Yeah.
You can't achieve so much in life without the money being paid for it. Great example. You have a lot of CNAs. When I was a CNA, I was making $12 an hour. But that's like 6 CNAs. There's like 80 CNAs in the facility. There's only one administrator. Yeah, so you get paid for your value. So don't think about the money. Just level up. Make yourself so valuable to where you get paid for it.
I seen what was the podcast? It was an Earn Your Leisure podcast. I can't think of the brother's name on IG, but he was talking about money, right? And he was like, money has no value, right?
Yep.
You trade money for value.
Yep.
Right? The things you purchase have value.
Yep.
And he was like, the not the other way around. And some people usually chase money, right? They'll trade something else to get money.
Most people,
right? Yeah. And then he was talking about what you're saying,
whatever.
A leveling up from a humanistic standpoint is that you need to add value to yourself.
Absolutely.
And usually that's education,
Yep.
right? And so people will start to pay you what you're worth because of the value that you have.
Some education. I don't want us to get it confused. And I did the education away. I went all out with college, but My plumber that works on my house, it doesn't have education.
No, yeah.
And it makes
So there's
it makes a
informal-
lot of money.
There's formal and informal,
Skills.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
skill.
whatever you're going to do, you just got to know what you're going to do. Number one, whatever you're going to
And
do,
be good at it.
and be great at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
To be great.
be gr- not even good, be great at it. And if you're better than everybody in this room,
Right.
you're gonna get more calls than every one of us in this room, and you're gonna take the businesses away from everybody in this room. If you're a great mechanic, I'm gonna bring my car to you. If it's a bad mechanic, I'm not bringing my car to home. I don't care how cheap it pays. You know, I'm taking my car to you. Then I'm gonna tell my friends that your car to you because you're so good at it. You know, and you fix my car's good. So whatever you're trying to do, you just have to be great at it. Education is good, and I don't agree when people say, "Oh, you don't have to go to school anymore," because it's a lot of people making a lot of money on social media. But guess what? For that one individual, there's like 10,000 people not making it.
I'm pretty
And-
sure it's a
Yes.
bigger
exactly,
number than that.
and nobody's posting their failures.
And nobody's posting their
Nobody
failures.
wakes up in the morning and says, "Shit, I'll have a shit of life today." Nah, everybody's posting on vacation. Everybody posting real estate. Everybody posting money. Everybody's looking good. So if you follow that theory where education is not everything, education is something nobody can take away from you. I don't care if you use it or not, but it makes you feel a little bit different. It makes you feel smarter.
And again, that education can come in a very formal or
Yeah, exactly.
informal manner. It's
And
not-
and that adds value to your life. Go back to your point. It's just adding value to your life. So when we talk about money, I was thinking about money.
Yeah.
I did. When I figured out how much Nurses was making, I'm like, it's not bad.
I can grow from here.
That's it. I used to
Yeah.
live not too far from me. I used to live on Charles Street, right down the street. And I used to live in one bedroom, and I could literally touch both walls in my bedroom, like touch from here to here. And when I figured out how much Nurses was making, I was like, I could move up. That bedroom could be my bathroom, my kitchen. I could get like a 2-bedroom apartment and be living good. Right. So I wasn't looking about money. I was looking about the opportunities that money brings to me. I like traveling. Like that's like my biggest.
And I think
motivation.
the important part was you pulled out a pen and some paper.
Oh, I did.
And you wrote it down. To Reem's point, a lot of people are not writing it down. It's like, oh, I want to be where you're at. I'm gonna get there.
Right.
Yeah,
How are you gonna get there? No.
So a lot of people don't write their goals down, which is okay, But like what's Arnold Schwarzenegger said, like if a pilot is flying and he doesn't have a destination, he's just gonna run out of fuel no matter what. Yeah. If I'm going from here to Cali, I know how long it's going to take me to get here from Cali. I know how much gas I'm going to make. I know what time I'm going to leave and what time I'm going to get there.
Right. There's a plan.
There's a plan. Everything that we do, there's a plan. If you have to travel, you have to be there at 8 o'clock, whatever time you booked. You have to check in at a certain time. If you have to go to the doctor's office, there's a time. You know what I mean? Even if you have to go play basketball with your boys, like, what time are we meeting?
Right.
If you have to go to a party, what time does the party start? So if you don't have a plan, you don't have time. What makes you think your life, you're not going to have time and goals for it? Why won't you write it down? And that's the biggest thing that I write everything down. Like everything. I write my plan for the next day. Like wake up, gym, go to work, study.
I have a calendar.
Kids. Oh yeah, I wrote.
If it ain't in my calendar, it ain't happening.
I will forget about it. I guarantee you, I will forget about it. Like if you look into my phone right now, I got my goals for the next 5 years right on my phone. I look at my phone. I look at it every day.
I got to do better at that. I always
Hey,
say when I do that.
I'm not going to jump on this bandwagon and say I have to do better than that. I'll be honest with you. I don't write it down, but I don't.
So how do you get to your goals if you don't write down?
I plan. Like
so how do you plan?
In great detail. So even you wouldn't know, right? But I write. Well, I do music. But I don't write anything. I just repeat until I remember.
We got a young Jay-Z over here.
Yeah, sure.
Little babies.
But it's not just something
Not
that I
a
do
Gunna.
with music. It's something that I've always done with
everything.
Okay.
Okay.
I repeat
That's a
it
skill.
to myself so much that it's always in my frontal lobe.
Mirror. Yeah.
I get exactly what you're saying about him. My best friend Adam, he uses what are they called? Sticky pads.
Sticky pads, yeah.
Right? And I mean everywhere on his mirrors, his counters, and just these reminders.
It works for him.
And he is one of the most detail-oriented people if not the most detail-oriented person I know, and one of the most successful people I know. Hands down, not even close, right? But we're both Geminis, both the same age.
Yeah.
But we work in two different patterns. So for me, I don't write it down. I just beat it into my brain.
But you have your way then.
Yeah.
So you have a plan.
Oh, it's always a plan.
Yeah.
It's always a plan.
But not everybody got your skills.
Yeah, right.
I agree.
You probably 1 out of 10. If you line 10 people up and say, tell me what you did
I don't think
yesterday.
Lil
How to
Baby
play.
writes.
Little Baby?
He's messing with me.
So that's another one. Well, that's why Lil Baby is Lil Baby.
Right? See, you heard him.
No. I don't know. I don't know Lil Baby. All I know is Lil Baby is very successful. So whatever Lil Baby is doing, it doesn't matter. So like I said,
No, I didn't want to. I'm not arguing with the method.
Right.
When Alex said that,
I'm
I
gonna
need
do
to get
better.
better at that.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't want it to seem like there was only one method.
No, that's not what I was saying.
Yeah.
I didn't mean
That's
that.
all I'm saying.
I didn't mean that. But I always wanted. I do want to kind of like write shit down. I just.
Yeah.
I just
Like,
never get to it.
here's what I
but
did.
now let
Instead
me
of
tell you,
writing it down-
there's something with writing stuff down too. Because once you cross it out, you feel like you've accomplished some kind of goals. So if you said, I need to buy a house in 2021, and you wrote it down, what do I need to do to buy a house? Writing stuff down makes you look into it. That's for most people.
What you're saying is you can't ignore it now.
You can't ignore it. And if
You can, but if you do, it's like
but
it was like, what did you write it down?
number
for?
one, you can.
Yeah,
You can ignore it. But guess what? If you
Yeah.
write it down makes you create an action behind it.
Right.
So if you say I need to buy a house,
You can't just put buy a house.
now once you say buy a house, what's the next step to buying a house? Because now the word buy a house is out of your head. It's on the paper.
Yeah.
Out. So what should I do now? A lot of people say I need to buy a house. Yeah, you've been saying you need to buy a house 5 years ago. You're still talking about it. Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. Well, because you didn't write it down. If you wrote it down, now you don't have to think about it.
Oh, you forgot about it.
Oh, you forget it. Well, they don't forget. You're just thinking about it. They're
You know,
thinking about it for 5
You know what I
years.
did? I text my realtor. I'm buying a house in 2021.
Remind me.
Let's figure this out.
But you said like Adam's the detail guy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
all right,
no.
tomorrow this is what I need to do.
2021.
Yeah.
Now it's to your point. Put it out there into the world.
Yeah.
Right.
And whatever form you do, put it out there into the world. So I 100%
Yeah,
agree with
yeah.
that.
So,
Yeah.
but once you text your realtor, what do your realtor say? You're gonna need A, B, C, D, E, and F, right? Guess what? She just wrote it down for you.
I'm with that.
She just did.
I put it out there. But
She just wrote it down for you.
and we were on the same page about it. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm not this year. I don't like it. Even though those rates dropped tremendously, the housing market itself, the prices haven't dropped at all.
That's true.
They've
Yeah,
gone
that's true.
up.
Oh, they went up.
Yeah, so
They went up. It's a seller's market. So
is
they
it
went
fucked
It's
up
that.
now?
It's that.
This is where me and Al we're gonna have a little
up. Conversation.
yeah, not a conversation, discrepancy.
Mm-hmm.
So now, is it fucked up that I sent that out into the world? 2021, I'm trying to buy a house, and I have a very specific house plan, duplex look that I want. But part of my plan is not dependent, but hopeful that this economic downturn will result in someone's loss and my gain.
No, you can't think that way. Like I know what you're
How you
saying.
feel, Alex?
No, I know what you're
I
saying.
knew where it was going with it.
No. I know what it's saying, but I think with life you can't want to achieve something for somebody based on somebody else's lost. I don't think that way, at least. You can't. You don't want to gain something because somebody loses something. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Like I don't want you to lose. I don't want you to lose your house. So
what
I
if
don't
that
buy
loses
it.
me?
No, I'm not hoping.
What if I lose?
I'm not sitting here.
What if it's bubbed?
I'm not praying.
He's gonna get a house. He don't
I'm not-
care.
Right. I'm
Bob can come.
house.
Bob can come
I
visit.
got an apartment for you.
You're right. But it's not that I'm not putting that negative energy out there. But again, part of what you're saying as far as having a plan is also understanding the environment
Yeah.
in which you're going into.
That's true.
And we know that in this current environment and the near future, there will be this economic downturn. There will be people who need to get out of houses
Yep.
sooner than
Yep.
later,
Yep.
and prices will then drop.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying they should take a loss, but I'm definitely not going to buy at the height of the market.
Of course not. Of course not. Yeah. But the way I look at it is, you're gonna buy a house. Period.
Right.
Period. That's it. So whether the house is high, the house is low, you already said 2021. I'm getting myself a duplex. End of story. So regardless of what the house is saying, you pray the house is low, but regardless, you're gonna buy that house no matter what. Period. That's the way you got to look
The
at
price
it.
is going to drop, though.
It is dropping. That's for sure. The price is dropping. You know, so you just hope the price drop at the right time. But that's when you got to be prepared. So if the price drops, you're ready to roll in. So.
Sometimes we get into that conversation because it's like everybody should have the same, and I'm like, nah, fuck that.
Everybody should have the same.
and this loses.
What? No. There's we all created equal, but we are not equal. I don't get because we didn't put in the same work.
That's all I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. You didn't. If you're gonna be LeBron, if you're gonna be Kobe, and you didn't train twice a day, you ain't Kobe. Period. You can't be Kobe. You know.
I mean, you play basketball,
Exactly.
but you ain't
So,
Kobe.
so are you saying that Alex could be Kobe if he practices twice?
Absolutely not.
Oh, not now.
Are you
I'm
saying
too
that
old.
if Alex,
I'm too old now. I'm too old now. But
He'd have to be 6'6",
10 years
215
ago,
pounds.
10 years ago, if Alex would have trained twice a day,
Alex could have been whatever Alex wanted to
No,
be.
no, no.
As I said,
I like that.
Kobe started with like 5.
Yeah, not with that.
No, I'm not with that.
Kobe started at like 5.
I'm not with Alex being whatever you want to be either. I'm not with that.
Alex could have been whatever Alex wanted to be.
You believe that's a true statement?
That you can be whatever you wanted to be? I swear to God, dude. I am not bullshitting you. I do. But whatever you want to be doesn't mean you are Kobe. But I absolutely believe you can be.
I don't want to be Kobe.
If we don't have that, trust me, we will never have Barack Obama. I swear to God. I really, truly believe you can be whatever you want to be. I'm from Africa. I grew up in Africa. I didn't came until I was 21 years old. Mm-hmm. You know, when I first came to this country, I was working at Domino's on Chalkstone.
Yep.
They used to put me on the phone, and someone was like, "What the hell are you saying? Get off the phone." So after a week, I went to the manager, like, "I don't want to get fired. I'm not picking up the phone anymore because they don't understand what I'm saying." So it's like, well, you're going to have to take out the chicken in the freezer. I just came from 120 degrees weather. Now you're going to put me below 36 degrees? I was sick every day taking chicken out like this.
Better be working on that English. Or you're going to be in this freezer.
I was working on that English. So, but I knew, like, now look at where I'm at right now. Like when I'm talking to my team,
optimism.
I have like 18 managers, and they're all Caucasian, white, older than me, rich white American. I work in South Kingston, but guess what? They had to listen to an African kid that came in when he was 21. So when you tell me you can't be whatever you want to be, everybody goes a different. Yes, you can be whatever you want to be. You just got to believe it, and if you believe it, trust me, you will.
Well, Alex, if he wanted to be Kobe, he needed a plan B, C,
He would
and D.
have to be born.
It should have started early.
Basketball was my sport. It's football. Anyways, now that you just said that, have you, through your process, have you ever dealt with any kind of like racial?
Every day. I'll tell you a story, right? When I first became administrator, they took us to DC for a training. And I walked in that room, and the guy automatically just looked at me and said, "Oh, the real estate class is next door." So he automatically assumed, because I'm black and I was young, because I was 29, I belonged in the real estate class next door because they were screaming and yelling, "Real estate, you can make money." So he automatically believed I was supposed to be in that seminar, not in the administrative seminars where they all older, richer, and they got the governor coming to speak to them. So when he said it, I'm like, "Oh," I said, "Good to know, thank you." And I just sat down, and he looked at me like,
I'm where I'm supposed to be, dog.
You're like you look at you like, "Oh." So I put out my badge, and we all got the badge, and I put it on. "Oh, Isreal," because we all from the same company too. "Oh, you the Isreal on the phone." So they've heard me speak, but they were probably looking for older black, because obviously they know I'm black, older black, geeky looking guy, and here goes a 29-year-old coming in like, "What the hell are you doing here?" So that whole night, I got questions, and they kept saying, "Wow." The wow wasn't because they were impressed. The wow was like, "How the hell did you get here?" You know, so there's a different type of wow. Wow, like, "Good job, buddy." Wow is like, "How did you do it?" And they ask all kind of stupid questions, you know, but it comes with it. You know, then I used to be so, like, I'll go to a conference in Buffalo, and I'm the only black one in there. And I used to be so uncomfortable, you know.
But now it's a badge of honor.
Exactly.
Listen,
now
I walked in like a boss.
Yeah, got your cape on that.
I walked in like a boss.
I went to Albany, right? This is probably like 4 years into the work I was doing to speak to the state police. Basically about black people killing black people. It was all white.
Yep.
I'm looking at that crowd, and I'm talking, and I'm kind of enthusiastic about what I'm talking about, passionate about it. But when you're looking at the crowd, and they're just like,
yeah, looking at you like, you're like, what am I doing? Yep.
Okay.
You know,
you're still speaking though.
You still serving donuts?
I got it.
I mean, there was a few questions after, like there was some officers that came up after. The other ones were like.
So I have a question about that though. In both experiences, and I guess in my time too, is it a racial or racism versus reverse ageism?
No, so I was thinking about his situation. I was thinking about yours. I don't, and you could, because you experienced it, right? So I don't want to take it away, but the way you explained it didn't seem like it was more racial because they knew you was black. To your point, right? It was just they was expecting a older black man and not a younger black man. But I think maybe the line of questioning that he was getting might have been different.
That's just that scenario. It's both. Like,
and I didn't think it was so much race because I can't say that because nobody said anything, right? So I can't. Right. But it could also be just like shit ain't happening up here, so we don't give a fuck. Like you can come talk about all this, but
we don't care.
I don't know about it.
I mean, there's probably a small community in Albany because I know there is.
It's popping out there.
Yeah. And so, but from a state police perspective, you're dealing with the state. You're not dealing with just Albany. It was just one of the barracks that was in Albany. And so they're probably like,
we don't care.
Thank you. And then those ones that were asking questions was like probably the more inquisitive. They were younger, right? And so they were just more like asking questions like, how do I recognize gangs, right? What should I be looking for and things like that. And so their line of questioning was more about how do I enhance my skills in my job, right? To be able to police the community in a different way. A lot of the other ones were older police officers, right? So they're like, I've been here. I'm about to retire in 5 years.
I don't care.
Like,
I think it's both. I think that keeps the young one away from going towards positions where you feel like, black should not be in there. You know, that's why I try the young ones. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. I don't care if you're the only black one in here. Majority of time when I'm at a meeting or I'm in a conference, I am the only black one in there. And I walked in that room like a boss, like, oh, what's up, Paul? Like, I'm good. It's because I figured I have my right to be here. I didn't just get here overnight. Nobody gave it to me. I walked my butt off to be here. So I'm going to stay here and I'm going to own it. Even when I started a new job, you know, they've never had a black boss before. And looking at, don't tell us what to do. We've been here for 10 years. You talk about you're going to make some changes. Who are you, you know? And you're black, and you're from Africa, and you speak. Well, what did you say? Can you repeat what you said? We don't understand you. Guess what? I will repeat myself. You're going to understand me. I'll write it down for you. Either way, you're going to get my
whiteboard in here.
You're going to get my point. You know what I mean? Like, period. So you got to be so strong to where you are not intimidated by anything.
And I think along, you know, Alex's question of, be prepared for the potential,
the challenges,
right? The challenges around race, around skill set. Because I think if, you know, for what you did was like, I had a plan, and I wasn't going to be derailed, right? And I think that persistency and being consistent and knowing what you want to do is different than somebody just saying, I want to be an administrator, and they're not really planning it out. And they're just taking different jobs to try to put themselves in a position to get there. You're always somebody's gonna try to knock you down.
Exactly, and that goes with everything. You know, whether you're buying a house, you have to have a plan. Whether you want to be a police officer, you have to have a plan. Whatever goes, that's what I said. We all have goals, and I mean, at some point in order to be successful in life, in order for me to raise a family and live in a nice home, I need to have a plan. So the whole point of our conversation right now is having a plan for whatever you want to do. You can't get to where you need to be without having plans. You need to write those plans down. You need to be like my boy right here and put it out there. Put it in the head and just wake up and just know what you're gonna do and just repetitive. You know, that's what it is. They'll continue to do it over and over and over again before you know you'll be great at it. You know, so you have to have a plan for whatever you want to do in life. If you want to graduate college at age 22, you need to have a plan. You know, you need to take more classes. You know, this you just have to have a plan. I think that's what we have with the young ones, because I'm just gonna wing it. I just do what everybody else is doing. Maybe I'll wait. No, then before you know, like, I'm 28, I'm 39, I'm 32.
This shit didn't come together yet.
Right, exactly. So then by the time you figure it out, it's kind of too late. Now you're gonna settle for second best.
Now you're Alex trying to be Kobe.
Kobe.
You don't even like Kobe. You're a LeBron fan.
Talk to me nice. 2 questions. One, what is your ultimate end goal if you have one? Like, where do you what is it that you want to see? And 2, are you going to force your kids to go into medicine as well?
Well, my end goal is to own my own facility one day. So I'm working towards that goal, and every day it's a goal. It's a bigger goal because there's no minority that owns their own skill unit or long-term facility. You know, so that's my goal, and I'm working towards that every day. So that's number one. And my kids, no, you have to go to college. I don't care what you do, you have to go to college. Once you're done with college, whatever you want to do in life, I'm good at. But guess what? I'm their role model. You know, they see me every day. You know, so you become what you see. They say success lives the blueprint. So if I'm being me and I'm traveling and I'm from Africa, and guess what? We've been to Disney World like 4 times. How did you think you got to Disney World if that doesn't have money? So if you want to do that more with your kids, you got to go to college. So that's the way I kind of put it to them. You know, you got to go to college, you got to do some kind of business, and you got to be good at it. So if you want to be a rapper, you better be Lil Baby, Jay-Z, and all come out.
You heard me say first, right?
Huh?
You heard me say first.
I don't want to be a rapper. I can just rap.
He said Jay-Z second. Lil Baby's the goat.
I don't want to be a rapper. I'm a banker. I'm a dad. That's what I am.
So whatever you want to do, just be great at it.
Aren't those the funnest questions, though? If that's the word. But I got that the other day from Megatron. Dad, I think that was probably the best part about this whole work from home quarantine shit.
Yeah.
Is that they get to see you working every day from the house. So he's just like, Dad, why you work so much? Why you still working? I was like, bro, this PlayStation happened.
Yep.
This is basketball. Who has? This light happens. And to your point, is success leaves a blueprint.
Absolutely.
You know, and for me, it was fun for him to see that and get those questions of like, oh, so when I'm at school, you're actually doing shit? Yeah. This stuff happening. Dad's working towards something.
So when I read that book, Think and Grow Rich, I bought the books like for my kids, and I say, if you read like chapter 1 and 2, and you tell me what's in the book, I'll give you like $20.
There you go.
Then you can get your game. Don't ask me for a game, or I just bought you a game. So if you want to get the next game, read that book.
Incentivize.
Exactly, and they read it, and they did. And my son, Junior, is a great kid in school, and we get a chance to meet the governor, and I was a proud dad. And I told him, I said, I probably would have never met the governor if I didn't come with you. You know, and I said, so I'm so proud of you. I said, this is what you do when you're so good and being successful. And I said, when you're smart, the ladies like you too. So,
and I like that.
Do that too. Like you just gotta talk about everything. I'm telling you.
I never thought about it like that. Right? I know there's some parents have incentives for things.
Yeah, sure.
And usually it's not educational stuff.
No.
All the time. Right? I think cleaning your room.
Labor counts.
It counts.
Yeah,
No.
absolutely.
I think it counts.
Work ethic.
Right?
Yep.
But for a book, right, to say, hey, read these, because I think what you're teaching them is that education can pay you.
Absolutely.
Right? And so it's like, no, learn this.
Yep.
Tell me about the 2 chapters. Don't just read the 2. Like, I get it, but you didn't say just, hey, read these 2 chapters. I went upstairs.
Yeah. Yep.
Give my 20. Right?
Yep.
But you was like, no. What were those 2 chapters?
Yep.
Okay. Because if I'm telling you to read it, I read the book, so you're not going to be able to get one over on me, and I think that's dope, right? Because you're already prepping your children for the future, the world.
Yeah. When you gotta get a job, they didn't just say, yeah, we saw your degree. They're gonna say, why should we choose you for this position?
Right.
Now you gotta explain yourself. So that's when I say, read the book and tell me what's in the book. So now, guess what? Not only did you just running through the book, like you said, they're now paying attention. They are cognitively intact in the book. Well, I got to tell Dad what is in chapter 1 and 2.
I think one of the most, I thought was one of the most important things for, SATs is reading and comprehension.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
I mean, it depends on what we're reading,
Yep.
But, that's a very important skill.
Yep.
Because be able to comprehend what you're reading and then also have the ability to articulate.
Absolutely. And it goes both ways. You can't be a good reader and now articulate very well. The more you read, the more you learn, the more you know. It go both ways.
And it's fluency.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I had stopped reading books for a while, and then I got chosen to read in front of a class of 4th graders.
Yeah.
Dog.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Pressure.
I'm presentations.
Yeah.
I am fine.
Yeah.
Pop. I got this book. I was like,
really? What is that?
I'm fronting, right? Like I can't even see.
Say that.
Pardon me.
You can read subtitles.
You can do that. But it was like my fluency was off.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a hard read. It was an easy read, but my
Dr. C.
it wasn't Dr. C.
Oh, there's a comma there.
Yeah. Right. Like it was like my fluency was just off. And
Yeah.
so, right, that practicing of reading
Absolutely.
helps your fluency.
Absolutely. Reading is, I don't even care if you go to college or not. Pick up a book.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're reading. You're big
Read a magazine. But if you continue to read a magazine.
Read a sport magazine.
Yeah.
Something in there will click.
Yeah.
Like, I learned about credit because I kept picking up a book about how to be successful, and they keep talking about credit. And I'm from Africa. We don't talk about credit. African people, don't worry about credit, my guy.
Oh, we don't talk about that here either.
No,
Don't worry about it.
not our families.
Yeah. But so I did that. So the more you read, the more you know, the more you educate yourself. So that's part of life.
I hear you keep saying, and it's interesting to me,
What?
black. Right? I'm black and I'm African.
Yeah.
Because I've heard some Africans say I'm not black. I'm African.
We've also heard some black people say they're not African.
Right.
It's so stupid. Like, I would tell them that's stupid. I wish somebody would tell me that. I'll tell you that's dumb. You're black and you're African. I don't care what just
shut up your stupid face.
You don't have to agree with me, but
mouth.
I'm telling you. So if you African, you're not black. What are you?
Right.
So usually when you ask people that question, they can't answer you. Mm-hmm. So if you're black and you're not African, what are you? Because I hear the phrase black American, but guess what? Yeah, where is your dad from? Or where is your dad from? At some point, you came from somewhere. Mm-hmm. So if you're black and you're not African, exactly. yeah. So where are you? What are you? Right. Yeah, you're gonna have to explain that. You know. So when you ask people a lot of intelligent questions, they can answer you. Mm. And if you can't answer me, that means you don't know what you're talking about. Or they get defensive. Right. If you get defensive or you can't answer me, then you don't know what you're talking about.
I think.
So do your research. You know. So I'm black and I'm African, and that's it.
I don't even know what I would even spend too much time because I'm never gonna give my DNA to like 23andMe and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
neither am I.
But I think that until we can ourselves break down the barriers between ourselves,
yeah,
you know, like that's a like to your point, it's a dumb barrier to have. I'm not black. I'm African.
Yeah.
If the revolution started today,
what side you think you're gonna be
on their side? Yeah. Oh no, you African? Oh no, you good. We only killing blacks today.
Are you from Africa?
We're not gonna touch you.
What's your 23andMe?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Liberia. Okay, you're good.
Yeah.
Brooklyn? No, it's not gonna happen like that.
Exactly.
So like
exactly.
when we tear those walls down between each other, this is where we need to go.
Exactly.
Kamala Harris, 2020.
Yeah. I like I said, I don't even focus on that. If somebody argue with me, I'll tell you how stupid you are, but I don't even pay attention to that. That to me, that doesn't matter. Whether you're black or white African, it doesn't matter.
Same thing.
You're a human being.
With the Dominicans.
Oh yeah, Dominicans and say they're not African.
We're not African. We
they're Portuguese.
We Portuguese. Yeah, man, get out of here, bro.
What are you looking at me for?
Y'all are the Dominican side of the room.
We are.
That's all I'm saying. It's just
We're the Dominican representatives.
Y'all both pulled over for gas.
Isreal, what would you have done if you was a kid and they asked you if you wanted to play darkies?
There we go.
I don't know.
There we go.
I don't know.
Say something.
Terrible game name.
Oh, I would have played. I played, obviously.
Your people created.
I played this shit.
You like I said, your people.
As a kid, I had no idea what the word darky.
You have no idea. It's dark. You have no idea. Let's play in the dark.
True, as a kid, you're right.
Yeah, I was 7 years old. Let's play darkies. I'm like darkies.
You're right.
That's like Megatron running around right now, and you're putting social justice war. You're being a social justice warrior on something that Megatron said.
No, I just threw it. It just threw me off on the porch the other day. Darkies, these motherfuckers.
Play that shit.
Well, with that not Israel, their family.
I ain't lying. I would have played.
Dominican side of the cable. They play this game of
I'm
hide and
the
go
only
seek
one.
in the
Yo,
dark.
do you
Turn the lights on.
have you noticed the narrative
And
that
they
they're
call
putting?
it darkies.
Oh, I know.
I went there one
I get
night
it.
and I
like
didn't
it.
know
I like it.
that was the name of the game. And I went there and they were playing.
It's happening on my social media and in this room
So
at the
they
same time.
only play with
I would've turned the lights on.
darkies?
Fuck
Like-
No, it's all the lights are out. You can't see anything. So I guess in their world we all look like spooks.
Ladies now.
But
Ladies. Ladies now.
I did play.
You
play because it was hide and go seek in the
But
dark.
guess what? If we playing that game, I'm winning because you can see them still right here. Put some money on it. I'll play all day.
Israel standing right there.
Like you can't. Oh man, this nigga, this guy can't even see me right now. I won the game.
But you
Yo,
standing
I'm
right
winning
there the whole time.
Yes.
I won a lot, dog. I won a lot.
Exactly. So,
Israel said, I'm standing right in the middle of the room. I ain't even moving.
shit, I probably said, let's play darkies every day. Put your check on it. Yeah, you're gonna be $2 as a kid.
Be in
Yeah.
the room. Israel, open your eyes.
I like the narrative that you two are setting over there.
What's that?
This barrier that you put on the table. This barrier between
y'all are,
ethnicities. I love it.
That's fine.
I love it. I love that narrative. I do have one more
You
question.
definitely said that you make the blacks read for you.
I definitely did not say those words. I definitely didn't say those words.
Wasn't that the 1 minute clip? That was in the 1 minute clip.
Make the blacks.
He said he makes the blacks. I don't read. You guys read for me.
That's funny.
I definitely didn't say any of that. But
The narrative grows.
Some real racial tension you're sitting in the middle of right now. It's real. Like,
Another reason why it's called a hot seat.
Yeah, if you weren't here, it'd be all out brawl, bro.
Oh man.
oh shit. What the fuck was I? So as we're aging, right, and time's going forward, we're starting to see more and more robot. I don't even know if I should use the word robots because that might be a racist term at some point. Automation. Is there something in the medical field that you can't see that AI can do now? Like I know that maybe like emotional, like maybe that's something like empathy.
Yep.
But is there anything that you can't see that a robot can do to replace a human being in that position?
So for the healthcare field, that is a plus for us, not against us. If you go to a Citizen Bank down the street, there used to be a Citizen Bank right down the street.
Yeah, it used to be.
There used to be a lot of people in there. Well, guess what? Now it's no longer there. But prior to when the bank is no longer there, they replace everybody. Now you go to the machine and you can talk to people. In healthcare, you need human beings. People are always getting sick. People are always having a baby. You can't have a robot coming in, taking the babies out. You know, there's a lot you can't. Healthcare is one of the field IT or automation, whatever you guys want to call it, refer to it. Can't hurt. It helps. Like getting your labs much faster. You know, doing your CAT scan much faster. You know, somebody's still got to read the X-ray. The lab is not going to come to you and say Isreal. Yeah.
Do you think that a robot or an AI can eventually be able to read that to somebody?
Absolutely not.
No.
And if you tell me your BMP is 6 to 9, a robot can tell me that. But what does that mean? You need a human being to kind of explain that. You know, so I don't think it's going to hurt us. I think it helps, actually, a whole lot more.
Right.
Yep.
So, that's 90.
Damn.
Yeah.
That was 90 already?
That's 90.
Oh.
Thank you for coming on. I do want to say we need more people like you and like us in these positions.
Absolutely.
Less entertainers. I think we need more doctors, scientists in these big positions, man.
Leaders.
I think that's so much more bigger, just in terms of, well, you know, racially biased, what we can get out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's huge that you want to open up your own facility. And that,
Yeah. I appreciate
I'm hoping
it.
that you get to it.
Hey, man,
Absolutely.
appreciate it. Thanks a lot,
Absolutely.
fellas.
I don't think it's going to take too much hope.
No,
No,
I got this.
Right.
You know,
You're right.
I do a lot of things on hope. But like I said, I know some places we don't talk religion. Like, I don't do nothing without hope and God and prayer. But guess what? There's a phrase that says, walk as if it depends on you and pray as if it depends on God. So I do a lot of hope. But guess what? God is not going to come there and do the job for you. You got to wake up every day and put in that work. So I believe in that as well. So yeah, absolutely. We need more leaders, period. You know, we need more leaders in a bigger position to show the young kids or change the narrative about, we're just ball players, we're just singers.
Yes,
No,
right.
we're executive directors, we're business owners, we're real estate developers, we're facility owners. You know, change those narrative about minority or our people, like I said. So, absolutely.
Just got to make them sexy. And I don't know how we do that. We need like a marketing team for it, because they've made rap and basketball and sports. They've made it sexy, but there are like the billionaire African Americans or blacks and Africans, whatever you want, of the world. Yet maybe 1% of them is a basketball or a sports athlete or a rapper.
Absolutely.
The other ones are financial titans. You know what I mean? They are the world-renowned
Entrepreneur,
scientists,
Robert
and things of that
Smith.
nature.
He's a financial guru,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's a billionaire.
It's
You know, so even Michael Jordan didn't make $1 billion playing basketball. He made like
everything after he left
20%.
the
Everything
court.
is after. That's business. You know, that's called business knowledge.
Yeah, how do you make that? How do you make business acumen sexy, the way you would sports or? And I guess it'll be these conversations, and the more, like you said, the more that we lead a path for our children to follow. And
Absolutely.
if Megatron wants to play sports, let's play sports. But
That's
be
exactly.
the best at these sports.
Exactly.
At the same time, I'm gonna need you to get these 2 chapters in.
Yep. The
Student of
same
the
the
month.
same benefit that comes with playing basketball, where maybe not as much, comes with being an executive director. Now, I've been to so many states in so many countries that I didn't pay out of my pocket. It's called business knowledge, learning. Guess what? If you play basketball, you can pay for that too. But as an administrator, they pay for it, and I get to enjoy myself.
Yeah.
So I think you just get the way of telling the kids you don't have to be a ball player all the time. If you're great at ball player, by all ways, go all the way in.
Right.
Same thing. You got to put in work anyway. You got to
Gotta be
practice
great.
every day. You got
Gotta work
to
to be
eat
great.
right. You got to train right. To be Kobe. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
That's right, goddamn it.
That's right. It's the only way.
30 years.
Yo, so we do this thing called honorable mention, where we each have a either a book, a podcast, a movie, an album, a song, somebody that we shout out in the community, anything that we want to shout out and we want to bring attention to. Right? It's called honorable mention. And we usually go around the table, so you can listen to a couple of ours. I don't know if Alex told you about honorable mentions.
No.
We usually don't tell our guests anyway.
Just spring it up. You got to pull something out right now.
So we'll go around. I don't know if should I start or
I'm gonna go. Shout out to Excellence Pizza.
Shout out to
black owned pizza business. Black owned. Pizza was delicious.
Pizza was good though.
Pizza was good. And then my honorable mention is 19 Keys. That's his actual IG name. He was on Earn Your Leisure, which is a podcast that gets mentioned a lot on here.
Okay.
One person.
He loves it.
Damn.
Yo, this is why we got the line in the table, bro. Can my brother get off, please?
Yo, man. 19 Keys. It was he was on episode Earn Your Leisure episode 92. He said cash is trash.
Whoa.
But he was talking about value.
Yep.
Right. And so
That's dope.
it was a dope
Yep.
episode.
That's dope.
I can jump next. I have 2 as well. The first honorable mention, Kamala Harris.
Oh, so
All right, first black woman
Clap for that.
nominated for the vice presidency
Yep.
of the United
Absolutely.
States. Her
Absolutely.
name will be Madam Vice President one day again.
Right.
Even if you don't believe in her politics, and that's fair and that's fine. Just the sight for future black female leaders of the world to see her ascend to that level, I think is a beautiful thing. So I'm rooting for her. And then the second one, honestly, the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Fire.
I caught myself on a car ride back,
Fire.
and I don't know
Was you
what
singing?
made me.
You
Of
was
course,
singing.
now that's like losing my. But I forgot how incredible that album is, and the more that I listened to it on that car ride back, the more I realized how much has come as a result of that album.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get Kanye, you don't get Drake, you
Yeah.
don't get even the Kendricks and the J. Coles.
But
of
that
the world
album, even though
without
people
that
don't,
album.
Oh yeah.
because people don't talk
Well,
about
you
it, and
know.
so it's not essentially deemed as a classic.
Oh, no, they
but it's
do.
timeless. It's timeless.
But
Some-
it is a classic.
no,
though,
some-
right?
no.
but you don't hear it a lot.
You don't hear it a
I'm
lot,
saying?
but if you ask anybody, he'll tell you that's a classic.
No, once you mention it, people are like, yo.
Yeah.
I hope that Alex heard my honorable mention and goes back to listen to it, because it'll be the combination of
I want to let you know.
R&B, jazz,
I'm gonna-
reggae.
You probably don't get a
rap.
rap. You don't get a Rhapsody without Lauryn Hill.
You don't get a
No.
Rhapsody. No. You don't get any.
Yep.
It's a perfect balance of every style of music.
And
that
Rhapsody's
you can
new
put into.
EP is actually dope.
Yeah.
I didn't know she dropped one.
Miseducation of Lauryn Hill and Kamala Harris.
Cheers. Good. Well, I'll go for 2 then, since you went for 2. So I'll go to honorable mention to number 1. I think Kobe, and I think I'm saying the word Kobe because I think the whole world seems to forget we just lost a legend.
Right.
You know, we all focus on COVID, and I remember when he passed away, the world stopped. Then we all kind of move on. And I'll tell you right now, I think I listen to Kobe every day, and I still kind of listen to his work ethic and listen to his preaching. And if you go into my office, it's crazy Kobe office. Like, it's Kobe's picture all over the place. And I think that if we all can just, if you want to mimic somebody and you need a mentor and you don't have one, that is one individual to go after. Whether being a dad, not cheating around, or just being a great work ethic, a
That
great
Mamba
leader, and
mentality.
just that Mamba mentality, yeah. So I think for the young ones, if you say, there's nobody around me, there's nobody I could look up to, I can't pay for this to be my mentor, just put on Kobe and listen to his words and listen to so many times, eventually you're gonna start acting like him and be whatever great what you want to do. So that's number one. And number two, since I'm African, and I'm actually
Jollof rice.
Jollof. I was gonna say jollof rice, but I got to better now.
Jollof rice.
But I think one person that I want to give a shout out to, I'm pretty sure he doesn't know I'm gonna do it, is this kid called he owns an African store, and he used to be he's a hairdresser that owns an African store. Jerry, I'm not sure if you guys know Jerry Hairstyle. And he was in an African store called Afrique, right on Federal Hill.
Okay.
It's an African restaurant, like a lounge, spa, really cool place.
I think I've seen it.
You've seen it?
I've seen it.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm giving him a shout out is this kid is just go after what he wants, and he gets it. Like he said, I wanted to do this, then boom, here it goes. And I've seen a lot of people talked about it, and nobody own an African store, a restaurant, a lounge on the Federal Hill. That's a lot of work for a lot of people. African, Nigerian, Liberian, doesn't matter who you are. That's too much stuff. Like, then they'll give up on it. A lot of people want to be a club promoter. He wants to be an owner, and he did it. So I just to let them know that's very impressive. I'm motivated by people that are doing great things. So
what was it called again?
Afrique.
And it's open right now, right? I'm assuming it's not dining, but
no, that thing is you can actually AFRIQUE.
Yeah.
And it is open right now. I think you can go and actually dine in because all the restaurants are open, so I'm pretty sure it's open.
And they shut down Federal Hill on the weekends. They block it off so that way they can have outside dining.
Yes, they did. Yeah, that's why it looks like it. Yeah.
I have to go. What Joel? Nigerian, Liberian?
It's Liberian actually. It's Liberian.
All right.
And I was telling him in his Nigerian jollof on his menu, just to let you know. Yeah, Nigerian jollof on it.
Not Gambian.
Not Gambian. I'm gonna bring my Gambian.
We ain't gonna talk about Gambian because they're not even in the conversation. So Gambian.
Hey,
no,
we gotta tear these walls down. Now we got these Jollof walls. We got to tear these
Not when it comes to food, bro.
No, we can't lie to ourselves. Come on, you gotta be realistic.
We can't lie to ourselves.
Gambian jollof. I didn't even know Gambian got jollof.
Oh man, I'm
now I know.
Yo, so my honorable mention is a group of guys that I think are doing some great work. I saw their podcast in the Joe Rogan podcast. It's called the project that they have going on is called the Innocence Project, where they work to free innocent people from prison and prevent wrongful convictions.
Wow.
They have an Innocence Files. It's called the Innocence Files, and it's streaming on Netflix right now.
Right?
It's pretty dope. It's pretty touching, actually. Like the
Netflix, you gotta pay us, man.
Like you gotta watch this.
Real.
If you watch this, it'll probably bring some tears, depending on where you are in your life.
Real. Wow.
It'll bring some tears in your life, into your day that day. So it's pretty dope. These two guys are doing a lot, and they're putting in their own money to do a lot of this stuff. They're pretty successful guys.
Yep.
But their stories are pretty dope, and the stories that they're bringing out there are pretty dope,
Wow.
and they've been able to free a lot of people that have been in horrible situations that were innocent.
That's
Have
amazing.
been in horrible situations and are now doing great things to try to free people as well. And this is a touchy subject right now because of COVID,
Yep.
right? And because you're freeing people that are in these COVID dense environments.
Yep,
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Where COVID is running rampant. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So this is a very touchy subject. You know
Yep,
what I mean? And
it
I
is.
understand that, but it's something. It's a pretty cool thing to watch.
Yeah,
So two parts. It's Innocent Project is the actual team, and then Innocent Files are the Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix. Yeah. That's amazing, though. So, COVID or not, freedom is still freedom.
Freedom,
Right.
bro.
Absolutely. I don't know how Bob's going to put this, but I'm going to give my honorable mention to the women of the WNBA.
Simple. Let's put.
They have, not just this year with everything that's going on, but they have been fighting social justice for a little while.
Say her
It
name.
just so happens to be that this year I noticed two things. One was Maya Moore. She plays for the Minnesota Lynx.
Right.
She took a year off to free an innocent black man.
Wow.
Took the year off to get to put in the work to get him freed.
Wow.
And the next one that I seen was recently. It was and I can't remember the two teams they were playing, but one of them was the Atlanta Dream, and the owner of the Atlanta Dream is a U.S. senator by the name of Kelly Loeffler. she had some very negative things to say about the Black Lives Matter protest.
Yeah.
So they went in, both the Atlanta Dream and the team that they were facing with shirts saying "Vote for Warnock." I believe that's who she is going up against in this coming election.
Wow.
And I didn't know that the NBA only have 29 approved slogans that they have they can wear.
Yep.
Yep.
The women, they can do whatever they want.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So
That's
shout out
amazing.
to them.
Absolutely.
Yellow
That's
lost their
amazing.
mind with that shit.
Absolutely.
You got all these black women on your team talking about the Black Lives Movement. Don't matter. Okay.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
great.
That's just not smart.
No.
Common sense.
Common sense.
That's just not
Common
smart.
sense.
Some shit you just don't say.
Exactly. Just common sense, man.
Yeah, man. Some
Like,
shit-
it just-
maybe that one. Maybe I should hold that one in.
Yeah, like
So I have nothing to say about it.
Yeah, maybe I should have.
no,
nothing
maybe
to say.
have something to say. Just don't say it.
Yeah.
How about good game?
No,
Yeah.
but I think
Have a good game.
you want people to say things like that.
You
so that
right.
so
You
that
right.
you know, so that you
Well,
know.
yeah, yeah.
I am for everybody saying what they want.
You right.
That way, I know exactly where you stand.
I think that's
Now you have a choice, right?
Yep.
You said it.
Yeah.
Now I have a choice.
Yeah.
Some people be like, I'm gonna play.
Yeah.
You know?
No, they played with the vote for someone else.
Okay.
She ain't gonna fire all of us.
No, she
Yeah.
can't. She can't.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's standing your ground. So
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Good for
Love
them.
it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yo, man,
Episode.
thank you for being
Absolutely.
with us,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
for having me.
Thanks for
You guys are
having
funny as hell.
No, I appreciate you.
You guys crack me up. So that's
I gotta tell you something. So Cinco,
yeah.
right? Lottie, we call him Cinco because he hasn't been. Lottie, you ain't been on the 5th episode
Missing a lot of
in a
fives.
long
A lot of
time.
fives.
Yeah, I mean,
Lot of fives.
and so I've Hilarious, who was Larry, who was on here. He's African, and he does his father. He plays his father, African dad. It's called African Dad.
Yeah.
And the way he's able to turn on the accent for me is hilarious. I'm not going to ask you to do it because I can hear your accent.
My accent's right there. I'm African.
Yeah, but like, I
That's
just like that shit be having me die because I was like, yo, I want to be in an African household. I just don't want the repercussions of what African parents do to their kids. I just want to watch it.
You try that.
You ever just watch one of your cousins get their ass whipped? Like you just like, damn.
Oh yeah, they Africans don't play.
Ooh.
Shoot, they don't play.
Hey, we didn't even
Are
talk
you
about
mad?
how you grew up.
Are you mod? Are you mod?
I don't know if that is British, Australian.
No, he tried. You gotta go. He tried. No, he tried. He tried. He tried.
That was a good try.
They tried.
That
They
was
tried.
nice.
The Africans don't play, man. They don't play. They are tough.
Should say anything with African Americans. I promise you.
No,
not all of them.
Switch. What's the worst thing you ever been beat with?
Plastic
Anything.
hanger.
Plastic.
What?
Plastic hanger.
I hear that about a
That's-
lot of
Oh,
African
you grew up in a
parents.
light skinned
Hold on.
household.
No,
Plastic
he said
hanger.
plastic anger.
That's
Like
that
plastic
sound like a
hanger.
massage.
Yeah, and not when it breaks. When you're in the shower.
I mean, a wire hanger, maybe.
No, plastic anger.
Plastic. It broke.
Did they
It's
heat
a
it up?
plastic. What are you talking about? It's a plastic. How high
You're
can
not
plastic
respecting
be?
your shit, dog.
I'm not.
You're not getting no
respecting that
respect.
one,
How hard can plastic be?
Oh yeah.
I don't care. I'll let you know right now.
You got assaulted then.
Really?
You got assaulted every
Oh,
day.
yeah. African kids get assaulted every day, but guess what? That's what make Africans see who you are. It's not abuse. We call it training. Sometimes you go over the limit, but
You get love on the opposite end too, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do something right, then it's all hugs
absolutely.
and kisses.
I think the new Africans are different. I'll say the
I
new
was gonna
Africans.
ask you. That was
Like
my next
I'm
question.
the new Africans. I can't remember how many times I put my hands on my kids' butt. They do listen. You give them the African look like this. Once you look at they stop.
All right.
So we got the looks, not the beating. So
Yeah.
it's different.
Shout out to Africa.
Yeah, shout out to Africa, man. Always African.
Yes, sir.
Yo, y'all know what to do, man. Like, follow, comment, share,
All that good
Critique.
Yeah.
all that good
Please
shit.
send your Gambi and Jollof recipe.
Yeah, send that shit. We gotta know which one's better.
We need to put
I
this
want all
episode.
three. All three. Send all
Episode
three.
name Jollof Rice.
I want all
Jollof
three.
rice.
I want to taste all three. I'll be the
Hey,
judge.
keep downloading. Oh, I definitely want to be in the taste test.
Gambian
Definitely.
Jollof.
Download.
I'm
Shout out to
there,
us.
too. I'm there, too.
Yeah.
Download. Shout out to whoever's downloaded. Shout out to you shout out to the listeners.
Absolutely.
Shout out to y'all,
Thank you.
man. Thank y'all. We out. Peace.
Peace. All right, thanks, fellas, man.
That's fantastic, man.